Thanks. Okay, great. Arben, Arbresha, any questions or comments from your side at this stage?
Not a question, but as you are the methodological expert, can you go through these hackathon steps quickly, because I'm quite new in this discussion?
Absolutely. That was also my intention right after this short intro, because I think it will very much help if we can go through a little bit the process of a hackathon, even though Valbona or Arbresha, you've been part of it, maybe just some basic reminders, let's say, of what are we doing. So hackathons, first of all, especially for Arben's clarity, these are kind of innovation design events where we kind of ideate and generate solutions together based on some co-creation methodology. That's kind of the purpose of a hackathon. Okay. And I also wanted to mention that usually when 15 plus people meet, there are around 50 ideas generated or more. But of course, not all of them are the best, more feasible, or will make it to a prototype. Yeah. So one part of the hackathon is very much connected to brainstorming. Another part is also about choosing and assessing the feasibility and what can be taken and implemented, actually. So we will focus on the double diamond methodology, which was also part of the hackathons that Helvetas is already, I think, doing internally quite a lot. But basically, the double diamond means there is this orange-red diamond and there is this greenish diamond. Both of them are equally important. And in a hackathon, we are going and looking at a challenge first by opening our minds and kind of hearts and feelings to empathizing and sense-making and understanding the challenge, mostly for our target audience or the beneficiaries we want to serve. Yeah, and this red, orange, yellow phase, we will actually go through in these meetings now, simply because in that phase, we are understanding the challenge and trying to put it in some kind of a question or a statement that is inspiring new ideas to come up. The green diamond is more the out-of-the-box thinking diamond, yeah? And it has also 3 phases: ideate, prototype, and test. And those are the ones that we will go through when we are together in Serbia, in Belgrade. So basically, the double diamond model allows for a lot of opening up to many ideas, but also making a lot of choices. And that's why the diamond looks at moments like it's opening up and you gather as many ideas as possible. But then at many moments, you also come to a conclusion again. And that's why this double diamond is kind of making sense, because in a hackathon, you do that in a quite short time with very strict timeframes. Simply because it is believed that when people work together under time pressure, they can come up with really out-of-the-box solutions together. When it comes to this methodology, I already mentioned, but I want to just clarify one more time. When it comes to discover and define as phases, we will go through them today. That's our focus today. And there will be some guiding questions that will take us there. And then the hackathon will be the green diamond, where we actually ideate and come up with solutions, etc. So maybe for this meeting today, I would just ask that we stay as much as possible focused on understanding the challenge rather than thinking of a solution, because that's not our job, yeah, at the moment, and that's not our focus. The way the human mind works, of course, solutions are always easier to come up with. But through the process, me and Christina will make sure that we bring you back to actually understanding the challenge and talking about the challenge more rather than coming up with solutions, because we want to open that solution process to the participants in the training. I also wanted you to see a little bit the agenda of day 2. I will not go through the 3 days, but on day 2 in Belgrade, we meet and open the hackathon. And basically, we start off with some, of course, welcoming and challenge introduction and team formation. But then we will go through, when we are in Belgrade, through ideation, selection of ideas, mind mapping. That means the selected ideas are getting much more expanded, much more researched, much more in detail. Then we will have some presentations, but more on a small scale. It's not pitching, it's more like mentor inputs. And then people will be able to come up with actually a solution, because sometimes these ideas from the first phase, they can also be bits and pieces of things. And maybe when they come together, actually a solution might come to life. So there will be also an element of solution development, and then the hackathon will finish with pitching and evaluation. We still, I think, are working on actually having a committee, kind of a jury, that will listen to these pitches. And after that, a selected solution will be hopefully taken forward, so you can actually implement something useful, innovative, and also that came out of this event. At 6 p.m. in the evening, we will all go on a boat cruise, and on the boat cruise, we will announce the winning solution, and there will be an award ceremony and a little bit of networking. So just that you understand, what we are designing now is really the question that we will put into work when we meet in Belgrade. And the better the question, the more details it has, the better the solution and design of a solution that we can expect. So when it comes to the basically this red diamond, if I can call it like that, that I showed you, we will start with a little bit of project and challenge introduction, because I know that you've been aware that we are going to have this hackathon, and yeah, there are some challenges maybe that are fitting for it or not. So we would love to, in the first kind of phase, a little bit understand from your side, not so much maybe what the project is about, because we already read extensively what it is and who you work with, etc. But to really understand, what were you thinking when it comes to challenges, and what were you thinking when it comes to challenges for the hackathon in particular. And maybe after that, we will guide you through a few more questions and kind of outline the how might we question, so we can go into more detail. But at this stage, if you are comfortable and you are clear with a little bit of the methodology part, I would just ask you for a short presentation, maybe from your side of the project, but mostly the challenge that you see, or the challenges you see, so me and Christina can understand the scope better.
Yeah. May I?
Yes, please. I will stop sharing the screen because I want to look at you more. So, Arven, please go ahead.
Just to introduce quickly our interventions in the component of waste management. During the first phase, and also we will continue in the second phase, October 1st and onwards, we will work with municipalities. So our main focus is to support municipalities to improve their service delivery on waste management. And this kind of support towards municipalities is a combination of technical assistance from the project, with commitment of municipalities to deliver based on methodologies provided by the project. A key component in this action is also participation of citizens. And here we see the challenge, and that's why I'm looking forward to hearing some solutions in Belgrade, not now. Yeah. Is a challenge, this participation of citizens, because first of all, they do not have trust in municipalities or in national government structures which deliver service or decide for the service. This is a general feeling. During these 4 years, and even in the previous projects, when we work with municipalities, this kind of trust is something which is built step by step. But being a sensitive service, including different things like management of public money, dealing with marginalized groups, different interests from central to local level, etc. Latest developments or latest issues with corruption in national level for these big investments in waste sector, etc. All of these, they cause this distance between citizens and service providers. When I mean service providers, I mean both central and local level. Okay, we will not solve all the problems of the world with one campaign, but at least to tackle some of these issues, which might open tomorrow the door to increase the citizens' participation, citizens' trust towards initially local level, because they are closer to the citizens, closer to the women, marginalized groups, poor people, Roma, Gypsy, etc. And slowly to gain this trust and try to do better things with a combination of all actors, municipal council, local administrations, national level institutions like national agencies for environment or protection of seaside areas or other agencies. So that's why we are in a puzzle where we see that if we intervene somehow first to inform citizens, later to ask some simple things to do. So what I mean is to gradually involve them to participate in what when I mean we as municipalities are trying to deliver for them. This is broadly.
I have a lot of questions, but Brescia, maybe you want to add something first, or I don't know.
Sorry, who did you refer to? I think you talked.
Brescia, I said, if she wants to join, and then Christina, you can start with questions.
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Preschool education is a new service for municipalities. We have worked during BTF1 with 6 municipalities, piloting the management model for municipalities to manage this new own function for municipalities. Although the law on decentralization and new government and local government of 2015 has given the preschool education as an own function for municipalities, this function nowadays is exercising like a shared function among the national government and local government. So Ministry of Education has a part of curricula and teacher training, local government has the management of educators or teachers. Their salaries come with unconditional fund from national government, and the building, hygiene and everything is under the municipality. So there are some parts from the Ministry of Health and the Social Protection as well. So nowadays, although the law is has mandated municipalities and as a new own function for them, this is considered and this is exercised like a shared function. This is the main, let's say, challenge during these years, which we have addressed through clarifying roles and responsibilities of different actors, deconcentrated agencies, national government and local government. And we have helped national government to design a handbook for practitioners where everyone has its own, has cleared by law which are their functions. Municipalities has problems like lack of funds, lack and low capacities for exercising this role, has not appointed the human resources for this function. And the other side, for the public, nothing has changed. So parents continue to keep to keep relations with kindergartens, and municipality is not considered as a main actor in this service. These are main challenges, let's say. I can talk a lot on this. We have worked with this, piloted in 6 municipalities, but in the second phase, we want to open range and work in 61 municipalities. What we have done during the first phase, there were different platforms and of communication among municipalities, but piloting this management model in only in these 6 municipalities. About, I have a remind from Valbona to focus on citizens' participation. By law, each kindergarten has board of parents, and the board's parents are not active equally across the country. We can say that they are active in some kindergartens in the center of the cities where the parents are more educated and know the value of early learning and development, but not countrywide. So parents, and which in this case are the citizens we are talking about, are not very active and correlated with kindergarten or municipalities. And these are some, they don't know the standards that preschool education should accomplish. Ministry of Education or municipality, they are more linked with children well-being and not being active citizens in the education institutions like kindergarten is or municipality. But we have worked with a model in one of the piloted municipalities on how to raise people's or citizens' engagement in kindergarten, and have tested some methodologies on how parents can be more involved in the children's education and kindergarten. We did some questionnaire for parents. Parents in some cities, in these 6 municipalities, and parents have responded. They were content at a certain level. In some municipalities, they were more engaged, and it was a bigger number of parents responding. In some rural areas especially, they were not responding and not much involved. So that's for the moment.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of information. We are, absorbing it. And I think maybe I have one question more to Arben, but also to you, Brescia, because from your both presentations, I realized that we are talking maybe about a similar target audience, which is, let's say, citizens in general. but then Arbresha is more talking about parents, which is a very parents who are in kindergarten system. Meaning parents that play a role.
Or parents
Should play a role in a board, yes, or something like this, yeah. While Arben, I kind of felt that when we talked about waste management, you want to really much broader description of citizen. It's like almost like everyone.
Yes, with a special focus, involvement of marginalized groups, poor people.
Yeah. So my question would be more maybe to Arben. I want to understand, when it comes to waste management, you said there is technical support that you kind of provide for the municipalities, but also you want the citizens to be part of it. And yes, I want to understand, what does that mean? What is the waste management support you give? And what can citizens do to help you in this waste management mission you have?
Okay, I will try to be short, because it's a very, very long discussion. We provide technical support starting from planning of the service, daily implementation of waste management activities like collection, transport of waste, disposal of waste, but also monitoring of the quality of service. One aspect that we involved citizens last year was to ask them for the quality of service. So we did this online citizen survey satisfaction. What we expect is to have much more citizens informed for the service, in order that they are able to better monitor the service. So saying that this is not done, this is done not good, this is not done not in according to what you as municipality has promised or told us. But at the same time, we want citizens to be informed in order that they are able to fulfill their tasks as citizens. So throwing the waste in the bins first, throwing the waste in selected hours. We expect, but maybe not now, that we will have a positive response from the citizens for the separation at source of the waste, at least in 2 streams, in 2 bins initially. We expect that citizens will pay the fee, the tariff for waste, because we have very low response in this regard in some municipalities, because in others we have better results. We expect that citizens ask, so paying the taxes and tariffs, they become active citizens, more proactive, so saying that I paid for this, why the service is not delivered in this quality, etc. We expect that citizens push municipalities toward different decisions, like why not to send the waste in the regional facility instead of dumping the waste close to the river, 5 kilometers from the city center. We expect that citizens make a positive pressure towards even municipal council, saying that you are our representatives, you are our voice, you are key decision makers of the municipality. Hear what we need, hear what we expect from you, and you will be backed by us as citizens. So this is where we see the part of involvement.
Thank you, Arben. This was really, really clear. I got the answer that I was looking for. Christina, you have some questions as well.
Yes, sorry, I had to mute myself. I actually had exactly the same question, but now I can maybe take the opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Arben, I would be interested if you observe similar differences, as we heard about the school project, if there's a difference in a rural area and maybe city areas, or is that pretty much this, there's no similarities to that?
No, it has big differences, because in city centers, the quality of service is much better. attention of municipalities for the centers is there. We have more problems in rural areas or in remote areas where the service is not delivered at all in remote areas, or the service is delivered till up to a certain quality in rural areas, sporadically or not at a good quality. In the rural areas, the involvement of citizens might be easier because there are small communities, etc., but their voice is not there. No one cares so much for small villages because at the end of the day, there are quite a few numbers of votes for the newly elected mayor. While in city centers, the density of population is high and there are big groups, and the attention of municipality is much more.
Thank you. Can I maybe ask another question? One more question to Alban, and then I would have one question to, I hope I can pronounce your name correctly. So I have to get used to it, but I will, I promise. So maybe to close it, my question with Alban, one more question about this. You mentioned, which I think is very important to understand in the whole context, there's a trust issue. From what I've heard, there's a huge distance between the service provider, if we call it like them, and actually the citizen. I wanted to ask, was there any kind of questionnaire, as we heard from Baresha as well, where you found out why, you mentioned corruption and these things, but from the citizen themselves, do you have any input why there is no trust, or why they will not, why they do not want to participate?
Literally, like you asked, no, we do not have it. We do not have it. But from the perspective of all activities and engagements, etc., it is evident that this lack of trust is based on the bad management.
Okay.
Within bad management, I can put all the kind of failures, starting from low technical capacities, lack of human resources, lack of funds, corruption practices, no possibility to offer the service because municipalities have limited capacities in all aspects, low response from the citizens, and not really a tradition of qualitative services in rural and remote areas.
And I wanted to just add one aspect. To me, it sounds like if citizens were to react, let's say we have very active citizens in rural areas, and suddenly they criticize the municipality and this waste management service non-stop. I don't know if someone will react properly so that their critics are actually heard. So is this something that has been tested?
I think yes, because with social media and with all these kind of consultation processes, like for the budget, for instance, or fiscal packages, when the citizens have complaints, municipality reacts. Okay, the level of reaction is different, but they react. And especially towards the direct critics, they try to be a little bit, because social media has a lot of power in terms of public pressure. And we had cases where small villages constantly complained for quality of service or for not having a collection in X or Y villages, and municipality reacted.
That's great to hear, actually. That's great to hear. It means that if there was more awareness among the citizens to actually involve in creating more pressure, probably changes are possible.
Yeah, because we, during the previous 3-4 years, we tried also to give some instruments to municipal council, to administration, but also to the citizens. And one of these instruments was the periodically report for the performance of service. So we pushed municipal councils to publish the performance report saying that we as municipality are at this level of service delivery, we spend this amount of money, the total costs of the service are there, but we are not able to cover such costs through the fees because fees are low, citizens do not pay, or we spend so much in this activity because the landfill is so far or the price of fuel is high. So this kind of thing in order to incentivize the dialogue between citizens, municipal council and administration. It's very difficult because for the time being, we have an abnormal situation with municipal councils and administration because all of them are from the same party. We do not have opposition there. But still, there are different active members of council or active citizens which stand up, raise problems, and try to do the opposition within the ruling party. But these are sporadic cases, not the general.
Okay, Christina, you had a question for Arbresha, I think, as well.
Yes, it's actually also two questions, so I hope that's okay to ask both. I hope I didn't miss anything because my connection was not always good, I have to say. But my question one would be, what I've heard is that basically one of the challenges is how to raise engagement within the parents as well that are on the board,
Yes.
right? What would be expected engagement from them? And again, I hope I didn't miss anything you explained there, but I wasn't sure. So how can they get more involved, and also how would they benefit from that in a way? I would like to understand the parents. And the second thing, the question I would be very interesting, you mentioned that questionnaire. And I wanted to ask if there is content-wise, if you could give us a very brief summary, what was asked or what was the outcome? Yes.
About the engagement of parents is that by law, but even as methodology, parents should be engaged in kindergarten's life, and in which means that parents should know the program delivered to their children, should be connected to the children teaching, where they are studying, are the standards of teaching and living in kindergartens good enough for them or according to the law, and maybe who is able to raise funds for improving such conditions for children. It's written in the law, but it's like a methodology worldwide that parents should be involved in children's education. And the environment which municipality is responsible for is very important for children's well-being and children growing and learning as well. So there are different ways how parents can be involved, starting from creating access to their children. There are many parents, there are parents, especially in rural area, which do not judge as priority early education of children. They don't send children in kindergarten, for example. Starting from here, parents should be aware of importance and of children's education, but even who delivers such a service, who should be the responsible for offering such service in the best way, or how according to law. But I think that the first question we can elaborate more, but that's for the moment. And about questionnaire, we have these 6 municipalities in improvement of the management of the service, we helped municipalities to deliver service improvement plans. And the service improvement plans has included measures for improving of the infrastructure, of improving of, for example, ramps, of toilets for children with disabilities, increasing number of teachers for improving the standard, number of children, ratio of number of children with teachers, support teachers for children with disability in addition, and social workers for and psychologists for kindergartens, which previously were offered by national level, but now municipalities should pay and should deliver funds for in their budgets for support, for having these standards in place. And the questionnaire was all about these, let's say, main standards for kindergarten. It was about the infrastructure of the kindergarten, how far is the kindergarten from their home, is there a psychologist or social worker in the kindergarten, how happy are you in general as parents with the service in kindergartens? Are you ready to pay something more because education is for free, but are you as parents ready to raise funds and give some more money for the service? These were the main questions. So about the standards of the service and about the how satisfaction, how satisfied they are with the service offered by their municipality.
Thank you. Thank you for the summary.
So one last question I have, and then we will walk through the how might we question and a little bit go back to the methodology. But Arbreša and Arben, you are explaining elements of the same project, right?
Yes.
They are not connected to waste management. Like what you do with kindergartens, Arbreša, is totally different. It's parents.
Yes.
Okay.
What we do is mainly municipality, but we have seen kindergarten as the last unit of offering service. So our main focus is on the municipality administration, and the municipality council, which delivers policies and approves budgets.
Okay.
So having this in mind, municipality, the last unit of offering service and the main unit, let's say, is kindergarten, and kindergarten is under municipality responsibility.
Okay.
Our focus is good governance, let's say, and see good governance, offering better services is part of good governance, is a feature of good governance. So
absolutely. So my last question, sorry, and it's the last, I promise, then we move on. Kindergarten waste management services, both of them are services facing citizens, and they are delivered by the municipality. From your experience, Arben and Arbreša, working with the municipalities, how excited are they to have empowered citizens who will or parents who will constantly criticize or test or tell them things? Or how open are they to actually this kind of citizen action? What's your feeling? It's not a project question. I'm more interested in patterns
Yes.
of behavior.
This is two-side approach. On one side, they want citizens to be part of their processes because they want citizens first to pay. I'm speaking strictly for waste. They want to involve citizens for this payment issue, but they want citizens also involved for the quality of service. So they want citizens to participate in separate waste collection. They want citizens to participate in monitoring the private companies or public companies doing the service. Okay, they do not want so much citizens to criticize the mayor, but they want citizens to be active to inform them, because if they aim to improve monitoring, and I'm speaking sincerely here, saying that there are municipalities trying to do some steps towards better monitoring, they want to involve citizens, even though through these WhatsApp groups with photos, etc., but also to ask head of villages or ask other groups to say, please inform us, not give us some notes, etc., saying that what we can improve. So this is the best part. The other part is, okay, they do not want to be so much criticized because they believe that they do their maximum, they are the best, and the citizens are pushed by a political affiliation, etc. This is the...
Okay.
But generally, I would say that even for the public behavior, we will be next year, where is the time of designing further these things. We will be in an electoral campaigning, and always in this period of time, municipalities, mayors are more generous to hear. And also citizens are more motivated to speak a little bit more.
From my side, I can say that all parents are voters, and the municipalities are open to improve service and satisfy citizens. In terms of critics, it's not in every time well expected, but municipalities want to improve service. They are concerned by the lack of funds, and if parents and citizens are willing to raise some funds and improve this part, it is well expected. So, as Arben said, there are both sides, not big critics to them, but willing to improve things, and especially welcoming their parents' initiatives.
Great. That's very good to hear, actually.
Istra, I'm really sorry. Do you allow me one more question? I hope it's a short one, but I think it's a very important one. But I hope we can keep it short. My question would be, I'm sure there was some engagement effort so far, because you learned it's very difficult. Could you just tell us the main channels that were used to try to communicate? Was it social media? Was it email? Was it at gatherings, events, meetings, just that we get an impression of the used communication channels so far?
Okay, may I?
Okay.
So it was mainly social media, because municipalities are very active in Facebook, mainly, and their web pages. local media, local TV stations where there are, local meetings during these consultation processes for fiscal package, for annual budget, etc. So meetings in villages, or we call administrative units, communes in this area. These were the three main channels.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So as Bashkita Forda, we did the questionnaire with citizens on how satisfied they are with the different services offered by municipalities. And preschool education was one of the most ranked service, waste management as well. So asking citizens where you want to set funds for the next yearly budget, citizens were happy to have more funds in these services. They are more aware. And this is another channel how we approached citizens or help.
And was the survey by email or by phone?
By phone, by email.
We publish surveys in the social media of municipality, and they could enter there, and through Google form, they could fill in the questionnaire. This the way
we have worked, we have used a lot for parents WhatsApp as well, for delivering information and questionnaires. And
great. I think we are heading towards the last half an hour of our meeting. So I want to, Christina, if you're okay, I want to go through the format of the question. And I already think I have some clarity, but maybe by the end of this half an hour, I would like to make a decision whether we combine what we heard or whether we focus on maybe one of these topics we discussed, whether waste management or kindergartens, or how we use digital advocacy to the best. So if you allow me, I will just continue a little bit with explaining the logic of this methodology of how might we question. I'll share my screen one more time. Basically, a how might we question is a already predefined format, and it's a method that creates an atmosphere for more innovative solutions by reframing the challenges into a question that starts with the words, how might we? And then you see there are elements to this question, and the elements are action, audience, insight, and end result. I will just shortly describe maybe what this means, what are these elements. So when we say how, of course, we think of different actions, activities, policies, projects, programs, anything that goes in a action-oriented kind of way. But for us, it is important to remember that the actions we want to see and the how element for this digital advocacy training is digital advocacy. So more or less, we know that the action we want to reach or what we want to do should involve digital advocacy. We already have that by design of this event. What we need to focus on definitely more would be identifying the audience, which at the moment from the discussion, I already see, adults can be a very broad audience, active citizens or citizens in rural areas, marginalized, or we can go with parents, citizens who are having kids in kindergarten, etc. But this is something that we need to a little bit more finalize. And then we need to figure out also end result. In a sense, when we design a solution for something, what are we designing for? So we already, I think I got actually a very good feeling of what you mean as why active citizens are needed and what is kind of the end result, which means better services provided by the municipality, also easier work from the municipality because maybe they get monitored, or it's not only critique, it can be also that the citizens are informing you or monitoring your work and they can really improve their good governance, etc. So I think the end result, for me at least to some level, is more or less clear. And I think what I would like to start is to, I will ask you to move together with me to Jamboard, where I want to get some discussion going on, but also write down a few things. So I'm going to just stop sharing my screen so I can send you the Jamboard link. Jamboard is just like a whiteboard. I'm sure you've used something in the online meetings you had. And on this link, you will see again the question. I'll share the screen of the Jamboard now, so we are all on the same page. But please open it for yourselves, so we can all individually put in answers there. Are you familiar, Arben and Advocay, with Jamboard? Do you know how it works, or can I tell you a little bit?
Okay, you can tell us.
Okay, so you are seeing my screen at the moment. Maybe it's easier if you look at my screen and not on your Jamboard. Basically, on your left side, you have a sticky note. It's the fourth icon. And if you go there, you can write anything, hello world, and you just save it. And then it's here, and you can move the sticky note anywhere in the whiteboard. And that's the only kind of activity we will do today. So you don't need to know anything more about Jamboard. And we will just go through the elements of this question in the next maybe 20 minutes, and then we will wrap up the meeting. So when I ask the question, when I shared the question with you, how might we, I want to remind you a little bit, the elements are action, audience, insight, and end result. From the discussion so far, I have clarity on the end result, and I think this also comes very strongly from the mission and vision of your project. So you really focus on good governance, improving municipality services, but all in favor of the citizen. And that's why the citizen not only gets the benefit of it, but also should be active participant in making that happen. So in some way, I think I realized that that's kind of the end result. But we need to figure out which audience we want to focus on at the hackathon, and maybe a little bit dig into some of the insights about that audience. And what are insights? Insights are these things we discussed now, like would the citizens, if they are active, would something change? You know, would they need trust? How to build that trust? So those are insights that allows us to understand and enter the mindset of the audience that we want to influence. Yeah. So I will start with that. I don't want to, you know, bombard you with too many information, but I think we did already partly stuff. So maybe Christina, you can already start writing down in the audience section, you know, the parents, and we also mentioned, you know, active citizens is a very broad term. I would like to go a little bit further. Yeah, taxpayers is good. Advocay, Arben, you feel free as well to enter things. Christina, I see the door. There is someone at the door. Could you open? Sorry, we are in the same space. But I want to, yeah, okay. And I would like to also advise you to maybe think of the audience a little bit more in detail, if it's possible. So for example, if there is a difference between urban population and people living in rural areas, do you think that in this hackathon, it would be very useful for you to focus on the rural areas, you know, regardless whether waste management or kindergartens, for example, because maybe there are some patterns of behavior that we can tackle in rural areas in a different way. Yeah, so think a little bit also more broad or focused. I don't know how you want to call it, but
yeah, but if we divide like this in rural areas, urban areas, also the insights will be quite different.
Exactly. So
in rural areas, we will mention to provide a basic service. But if we target the urban areas, maybe we will target this kind of recycling.
Exactly. And also the channels might be very different, Arben. For
Yes.
example, when in the insights, we will think, rural areas, well, then maybe it's not logical to do social media campaign, full-blown content, whatever, but more to go to these local meetings or comunas or, I don't know, like, it's going to be different, very different. So that's why I want to open a little bit, like open this as a brainstorming, and then we will have to make like a decision, simply because we can't focus on all of them. We have to be quite careful.
Too broad. Okay.
Yeah. I think at the moment I see also the rural areas, but then we have the taxpayers, vulnerable groups, and parents. I think they are very much connected, but for the purpose of the hackathon, we will definitely have to choose one target audience. Also because maybe Arben and Arbresha, I can help you as well with the selection if I say what's relevant to you in the next year, because these solutions we will design, they might be implemented, we said, next year. What will be maybe more priority for you to test or to try out as a digital advocacy in the next year or something? And Christina, please go ahead. You don't have to raise hand, just go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I have a question. Are we clear who is we already? Because I wanted to double check with are we forming the question from the perspective from the municipalities as well, or is municipalities part of the audience?
So the who are we question will come after these two. Yeah, it's at the end of the page, you see. So it's after it, but the most important part to remember when it comes to this question, Christina, is the participants that will be there with us at the workshop. And these are the team members of Helvetas, of different offices, yeah? And the project is working tightly with municipalities. So I would say it's Helvetas plus municipalities. That's the we.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Now we have also a little bit of insights as well written, but I want to maybe try to define the audience. And I would like maybe to ask Arben, Arbresha, for you, as I said, it will be a difficult maybe choice to make, but is there a chance that we prioritize somehow these target audiences or I don't know, because if you want to combine waste management and kindergarten together, so we look at the target audience as kind of one and the same, then I would suggest we go with rural or urban areas, and then we tackle both users of waste management services and parents, because then the insight and the end result is a little bit different. We will focus on the geographical proximity to kindergartens or waste management services, or, you know, it's a very different setting.
Sorry, Bistra, do you think that we have to exclude cities from our awareness raising campaign?
No, I don't think so. But for creating a valuable solution for a target audience, we need to focus on it. And we shouldn't leave the target audience too broad. So for example, the target audience of rural and urban areas, if we just say everyone is our target audience, you know, because everyone needs waste management and kindergarten, we will never come to a solution that is good enough to resonate, because people are so different. Yes. And nowadays, digital advocacy really relies on these unique elements and behaviors of the audience. So that's why I don't want to leave it too broad. We have to exclude something to find a focus, priority audience that we want to focus on.
Yeah, I can only confirm that the broader the audience, the less the chances that we actually can talk to them. You know, the more we focus, the more specific we will be in our communication, the bigger the chances that we find a way in digital communication that resonates with them, and they react and they do what we want them to do. So it is a bit of a challenge as well. So we need to find either, as Pistol said, a bit of a definition of area or some common ground, but I don't think that really works in that context. Sorry, I'm thinking now, or some kind of, although we shouldn't go in the solution now, but some kind of bigger picture, for example, the future of the area, you know, where both waste management and education play a massive part. Does that make sense? But I don't know if that would be able to, it's a bit too thought too far, I think, already.
So maybe I can ask one clarification question to Arbresha and Arben. When you thought of digital advocacy in some way or having active citizens, do you think of active citizens as users of both waste management and kindergartens and all the kind of municipality services? Or in your head, you have more defined target groups?
To say the truth, I had more divided targets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Arbresha, I guess you as well.
It's clear. It's clear for me. My target are caregivers, are parents, teachers as well. So these are the audience.
And do you feel that you, Arben and Arbresha, you have similar people you talk to?
Of
do you
course,
feel that your
parents are users of service of waste management.
Exactly.
And
So
vice versa.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
there are some cutting.
Some overlaps.
Yes, overlaps.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, because waste management is maybe a little bit broader than parents.
Yes.
Parents would be in a way overlapping, but not everybody who uses waste management is a parent.
No, because we are talking for parents who has children 3 to 6 years old.
Yeah.
So I am a parent, but I am not a beneficiary in this case.
Yeah. So when we think of the target audience, maybe one element as well to keep in mind is if we choose the waste management users, so that's a much broader audience, that target group, some of them also use the kindergarten, some of them probably use other services from the municipality. So maybe then we will kind of try to develop digital advocacy campaign or something that empowers them in general to be more active, etc. But from experience, especially in the Balkans and other regions of the world, we see that that kind of generic approach doesn't bring the results that were expected, simply because the message is kind of lost through the general, you know, the more precise you are, the more you can get people to tell their truth. And that's what you want, with citizens to be active, to comment on waste management, to make sure that they have their eyes open to things that are valuable for them. Yeah. And that's why I'm more leaning maybe towards keeping the broader audience of waste management users. So that's kind of the audience, but maybe dividing it by some other, it doesn't have to be urban, rural. Maybe there is something else in this group that we can make the narrative more relevant to them. Valbona is typing something, so I'm just going to read it. I think we should not go for generic but specific. Has to make a choice, or we can work with two parallel cases.
I fully agree with that, Valbona. Thanks for the input, because what we need to make sure is that we don't have two different messages when we move on in Serbia then to actually to the solution part. So we either actually, if we always talked about we either work on both and have then one more group basically, or we make a decision, I think. Otherwise it's the outcome, the challenge is there anyway, you know, so we should at least try to set it up in a way that we have the best chances to come up with a working solution. Bistra, what do you think, or how do you feel? I presume Babesha and Arben probably, I hope I say it right now, but you probably would like to your question, your challenge to be worked on. Is that a right assumption?
I go for parallel cases.
Yes, me too. Because we want to tackle some specific audience. And if we go with the generic ones, we will lose something on the way. So with the generic ones, we will say, be a responsible citizen. And that's it.
Yeah, and it goes nowhere, you know. I mean, it has been done already.
Yes.
We know these examples from the past. Yeah. Okay. So, Valbona, question to you. Would it be okay if we come up with 2 different how might we questions from this project? And depending on the energy in the room and the participants in Serbia, we can see who signs up to solve which question. And we just see on the spot if both of them will be equally interesting or one maybe will not be so interesting and we will have to give up on it. But I think at the moment we have enough information to design 2 questions.
I think so. We don't need to lose more time now to take this decision. I mean, options are there. Either we go just with one case because we think it's substantial, and I assume it's easy to copy paste in terms of approach, or if we have enough interest and competition, because we shouldn't forget the competition nature, because that's an important incentive to generate innovation, and we shouldn't lose it. So I wouldn't like to have just one group, you know, working on it. We have to keep in mind, if we go for 2, then I think it will depend from participants and the competition we can incentivize there. That's my position.
Okay, great. I think we have clarity now, more or less. I only have one last comment around audiences, which is related to private sector. Arben, I assume this was you who wrote it because it's related to waste management, I think, or yeah, this is how I think, or maybe Valbona, I don't know, whoever. I just wanted to say, if we focus on the citizens as our target audience, possibly we will not come up with solutions that will, maybe they will connect to private sector, but they will not be necessarily focused on private sector. So I just want to set the expectations right, because I want to stick to the target audience as citizens. That's what we understood and discussed the most in this call. And if we now talk about private sector, it will open up a round of new insights and stuff. Is that okay with you?
This was question for me or for Valbona?
I don't know who wrote that post-it, but
for me, it's clear that we can we will tackle citizens, and beneficiaries somehow will be beneficiaries, audience involved in a small scale private sector. But
yeah,
we cannot tackle directly private sector because they are limited in number, and
yeah,
was my perception.
Valbona, you can maybe talk a little bit why you put it or what came to your mind.
No, I put it in fact because it's something which both services have in common, but a little bit as well to provoke in terms of action, because I think what we didn't yet sufficiently tackled in this session, and I hope still to use these 10 minutes, is to talk about the action, because I understand we tackled audiences, insight a little bit, the result was clear, but action means engagement. And I think it depends as well in terms, I assume you will prioritize some questions and maybe, I don't know, if we talk for waste separation specifically, then suddenly the citizen might shift into private sector, you know. So I think Arben as well has to think a little bit what is, I mean, the mainstream of campaigning and the main change it's intended, because you might link somehow the audiences with insights and then reach to the action. But I think methodology will show it further. Thank you. But I agree, it's not the direct interest there or focus.
I think, Valbona, you successfully went to the solution as well, and then came back to the audience and thought, private sector is very important. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, the last slide in Jamboard is about the action and the end result. I think with the end result, more or less, I framed it in a way that Arben and Arbresha, I think, Valbona as well, you agree. But I would like to talk about the action a little bit as well in the next maybe 10 concluding minutes of this meeting, because of course the action has to connect to digital advocacy in some way, but digital advocacy is very broad. Yeah, we are talking, but I want to have equal digital element and advocacy element to the action that we want. So now that we agreed with the target audience being these two target audiences, and we have two questions, maybe Arben or Brescia, last question kind of for you, and Christina, you can add if you have any. What did you have in mind when you thought of digital advocacy and these target groups you work with? Did you think, we should do a campaign and raise awareness? Is it that we want to focus more on empowering citizens, showing them what are the instruments that they can influence, or parents for kindergartens, what is out there? So is it like raising awareness? Is it like digital in a sense of organizing a digital community where parents or waste management users can type and put publicly their frustrations, others can vote, and the most voted ones go to the municipality? Or I don't know, what did you have in mind? Because it can be very different actions, yeah? So I want to understand a little bit if you have any thoughts on this.
In fact, we are here to get as much as possible, or different methodologies that has been more successful. But what I have in mind is that parents are informed by municipality for the work done there. Parents can access in municipality different actions in regard to preschool education. Parents are aware of what to look for, because sometimes the parents ask for minor things or don't know the main.
Okay, and Arbresha, what is like, if you think of the parents and everything you know about them, what is an action that you think they would be in need of? So do they need empowerment? Do they need mental well-being? Do they need, what do they need?
I think that the empowerment is the main.
Empowerment, that they can influence kindergarten,
can influence municipality, can influence decisions, can influence improvement of service from municipalities, can inform municipality for the things that are not going there. Can influence decision makers for better decisions.
Okay, can influence, and this is like to say outside of the election process. So it's not only through going out to vote, but you can influence it on a daily basis. In a way.
Basis. Yes.
Arben, is this something that aligns also with your target group?
Yes.
Maybe from
Yes, but on the other side, I was thinking that okay, we will have a model or something that we will design, but at the same time, as we mentioned at the beginning, we will have this tailor-made campaign per each local context or community. We need to tackle some issues. We cannot tackle all, because I see like this is that we need almost everything to do from the scratch. So informing citizens, asking them to participate, asking them to contribute, asking them to monitor. But I would start with information first, and then to ask them something in return.
Okay.
and
I
what
see a
about
little bit of a difference here between the target groups, but I like your point, Arben, and I wrote it down.
and what about Bistra? Sorry, but what about, it was mentioned so often, so I just want to mention it shortly. What about trust building? Is it some?
This is a process, and this trust building this trust should be built, and this trust cannot be built immediately without showing goodwill from both parts, citizens and institutions.
Good. Okay, so since we are really tight on time, I think what I would suggest at this stage, Arben or Brescia, if you feel something is on your mind and you haven't had the chance to talk about it or mention it today, you can also write it in Jamboard. We will leave it open for today, the whole day. But then on Monday, Christina and me will sit down and craft few questions, how might we questions, and send them to you for review. Yeah. And you know now the logic, how we come to this. So we will try to really embed everything we heard, but we are very open to critics, unlike the municipalities. No, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean. Criticism is life for innovation. So we are very open to criticism, and make sure that we really craft a question that will lead to something you need and you can implement, because a good question can really come up with innovative solutions. And yeah, I want to make sure that it's something you want to implement as well, and not just we do it for the hackathon. It should be something, it will make a difference for your work. So with that said, I will maybe stop sharing my screen and just ask Christina, Valbona, do you have as well something to share?
Valbona?
No, I would just like to, yes, thank you very much. I just would like to, I think it would help Brescia and Arben follow up first any logistic instructions, so they should continue to work with the same link or how. And secondly, I mean, if how a good question could look like, because it might help their reflection. I mean, I'm not imposing you to draw it now, but just how a question could look like, and that would help, I think, them to follow up. That would be two things I would like to add.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, Valbona. And I think, you know, the most important is that the questions we craft are actually resonating with the knowledge you have of your target audience. This is the most important, because I can come up with a question now and say, how might we empower taxpayers to be more responsible towards waste management? What is this question? No one will understand it. Half of the people will not be inspired. It's a bad question. You will know if it's a bad question. Just your guts will tell you. But also look for maybe, you know, some assumptions that maybe Christina and me have added to the question, and those assumptions are maybe not true. You know what I mean? Like empower citizens through digital campaigns. That's an assumption that we believe they need digital campaigns or whatever. So I think that would be, but I think as a next step, we will write it in the email with the questions, and probably we will have another maybe half an hour call where we finalize and also ask you a little bit more how to present or what to tell when we are at the event in Serbia, because we will ask you as well to put some context so people can understand. Would this be okay?
Okay, just that Arben and Arbrecha are next week. That's the last week of the year before holidays, so it would be good that we time-wise consider that. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I think we will really try to send out the how might we question next week, and then for the call we can also make it a little bit later in the month of August, if you don't mind. I don't know, when are you back from holidays? Maybe Arbrecha, Arben?
End of August.
20th.
Okay, so we can do
so basically the next week. No, Arbrecha might be, but Arben is until end of August in holiday. So the next week really would be good to conclude.
Okay. So
because it's important for the jury and other. We need to advance as well with the other announcements. So I think it's important that we schedule next week.
Okay. So we will reach out to you, Arben, Arbrecha, on Monday. I think that we will not need a lot of time to come up with the how might we question, and I think we can take it from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I see that more colleagues are now joining from the other project. Thank you very much, Arben, Arbrecha, and we keep in touch.
Thank you, and all the best.
Thank
you. Speak soon. Bye.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Blerta is here, so I'm gonna add her to our.
This meeting is being recorded.
No, really, from my side, I don't want to take time because it's important that we go to the topic. I just would like to greet Mira and Blerta. So please just go. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Valbona. So Bistra, I should take over for the introduction very shortly. Okay, so big hello from us one more time. Bistra and I are both co-founders of a boutique agency called Heartbeats Innovation and Communication, and we actually try to focus on approaches that support this sustainable or give sustainable access to innovation, but also to all sorts of communication. Bistra is more focused on the innovation part. She works a lot with co-design. In that sense, is also specialized in actually designing innovative agendas for events. And I am more on the communication part with a very, very high focus on impact communication, and in that sense, very strongly connected to digital advocacy as well. I am originally from Austria, also based in Vienna. Bistra is originally from North Macedonia, and we are very happy that we can be here today, and we got the chance to be invited by Helvetos to work on this and also get to know your project today better.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christina. I think for the beginning, I just want to ask Ermira and Blerta, have you ever been part of a hackathon? Do you know the concept of a hackathon as such, or would you like to go through some methodology description a little bit?
Me not. I know in principle what is, but I haven't been part, never.
Okay, I have 2 slides only, it will not be long, that explain a little bit the double diamond process, which I think it would be nice for you to understand in order to figure out what are we doing today and what's going to happen at the event in Serbia. So if you allow me, I will share my screen presentation shortly, and then we can go through some more questions towards you and comments from our side, etc. So the brainstorming part. But usually when it comes to hackathons, imagine them like very intense, time-intense events where people come together to generate some solutions. And in order to generate good solutions, you need also time to understand the problem or the challenge that you are trying to solve. And actually in hackathons, usually we have a high number of ideas developed, but of course, not all of them go to a stage of being actually solutions or having prototypes. So one part of the hackathon is high brainstorming, a lot of ideas shared, having that freedom and psychological safety to innovate together. And then there is the other part of really selecting the best, most feasible solutions and developing them further. The methodology we will follow is really, for me, the easiest way described in this double diamond model. It's called double diamond model. In case you're interested, you can also Google and see a lot of different iterations of it online. But basically what we are going through is a phase of discovering a challenge, defining a challenge, developing solutions for the challenge, and delivering or implementing. Yeah. And this red, orange, yellow diagram or diamond, we will actually focus on today in this session. And we will try to empathize and make sense of the target audience we want to tackle, and also the challenge they have, or what do we want to work with them on, or what's something that is bugging us at night. And then the green part of the diamond, which is the ideation part more, that will be covered in the hackathon in Serbia at the physical event. So the double diamond at the end will bring us to solutions that ideally you will be able to implement in your project. But also maybe it will give you some new perspective on things, you know, because when we work in projects or when we are focused on one target audience for a longer time, we sometimes lose a little bit of sense of that out of the box thinking. So with this methodology, we make sure we get a lot of different inputs and also this out of the box thinking inspired in your internal team as well. So for today, we will focus on really understanding your project and understanding a little bit of your challenge. I will not go through the agenda or anything that will happen in Serbia, but one thing I wanted to mention, which I find important to know, we will have the day 2, the full day dedicated to the hackathon. So that means we will start the day with a description of the challenge or a design question that ideally we will come up with through this meeting and session today. Then people will be grouped in different teams, and they will be able to develop ideas first of all, and then develop those ideas, then select an idea that is really feasible, then get some feedback from each other, develop the solution further, and at the end have a pitching session in front of a jury or a committee that will actually choose the most feasible, the best, the most innovative idea that we came up with. The award ceremony will happen on a boat cruise on the Danube or Sava River in Belgrade. So even if you're not a winning team, you will enjoy the atmosphere. And we made sure that we think this through in a way that it really incentivizes people, inspires for change, but also brings a lot of good vibes and team spirit or community spirit to the whole experience. So today we will really only focus on the project and the challenge you had in mind when you thought of the digital advocacy training. Of course, the training, this regional gathering gives us the chance to work with team of Helvetas, with people who have very different skill sets, but they are all connected to digital advocacy. And having in mind that your project is connected to a quite young target audience, I would be very, very keen on experimenting and coming up with some innovative tools and models, how we can engage them in digital advocacy. And I think in the beginning, we already heard a little bit of a description from your side about your project. And as I said, we already read a lot about it, and we have some kind of picture in our head of what it is. But I would like to maybe frame a question more at the moment around what was the challenge you had in mind when it came to the digital advocacy hackathon. What did you have in mind? What were you thinking about, etc.? So we can understand a little bit. I think you mentioned in the second pillar that you want to work on something. So it would be important for us to understand that element. And after that, we will go through a methodology of crafting the design question together, where we can understand better elements of it.
Sorry. Yeah, I forgot that I was mute, sorry. And as I mentioned during our presentation, we had a strong focus on career guidance. And when we started the career guidance, let's say 5 years ago in Albania, it was in a rather, let's say, simple level of development. So in front of a project was a big challenges, working on that to define entry points, how we can intervene in the system to make the system working and to develop the services for the young people. And we established or developed our strategic support for the system, defining our entry points. So we are focusing career guidance in 3 main pillars that are necessary to make a service effective. And first, to make the service existent, and then to make the service effective. And these 3 pillars is our institutional providers, how we can capacitate them in order they can fulfill their mission to offer career guidance service to young people. The second important pillar is the career counselors, human resource. How are prepared these people that will work in this institution to offer the service? Because in career guidance, counselor is key. A good counselor can make that service effective or attractive and desired from the young people. And the third line of our support was the content and labor market information. So we were clear since the very beginning that a good content and a good counselor are the 2 crucial elements for career guidance service. So we have worked on these 3 pillars, but on the first one, when it comes to institutional provider, we just have worked with the various stakeholders, because career guidance is, when we look to the governance of this system, is a little bit fragmented, because it takes part in different law and regulation in some layers. For example, career guidance is necessary in pre-education, pre-university education, at universities, at municipalities, as a community service for those that are not in school, not working, to take this kind of service. And also training provider that we work with, they also have noticed or is articulated from their graduates the need to be oriented even within a sector. For example, career orientation in tourism or career education in ICT. As you decide to work, still there are many disciplines on ICT that you should be focused in software, in hardware, in cybersecurity that is becoming prominent now, or other. So they need also their career orientation. We usually consider it a specialized service of the career guidance, but still they are needed. And also we have worked with the Faculty of Social Science to upgrade a master program to contemporary level, let's say. And this is enabled with a partnership of University of Lausanne in Switzerland. And also project has supported the development of the content. Content, it means information on profession that is key to get to know the young people in the world of work, and other instruments and tools that are necessary for young people. Now, coming back to these institutional providers, we have conducted last year advocacy campaign that was mostly about mostly dealing with municipalities in Albania to advocate, and advocacy is done by civil society organization in front of these mayors and their teams on the necessity of these services for young people. And now, let's say currently we are yielding the result of this advocacy campaign, because we have developed a model at how to deliver career guidance service at municipality level, an open community center of career guidance is open near municipality of Tirana and is offering the service since 1 year ago. And when we launched a call of interest to see is any interest, commitment, and motivation from other municipalities to develop also this kind of service, we had just 15 municipalities applied. That is an indicator that shows that the interest and the motivation is there. So for us now, the challenge is how to deal with them and to offer them the right support. And at universities now, I want to stop here because here is also the point that we maybe go more in details, because this is related with the topics that we, as a pre-discussion, saw as a potential for the hackathon. And at university, we have worked to develop career guidance service. There are career guidance office in universities established with some tools and instruments of the counselors. The counselors are trained properly to offer this service, individual service for a range of service, individual service, group service, and organization on some activities that fall under the umbrella of career guidance services, like job fairs and trainings and such other activities. And but the problem or the challenge is still the visibility of this service or of these offices in front of the students. We are talking about the 4 major public universities in Albania. The number of students at them vary up to 20,000 students. University of Tirana has 20,000 students. University of Durrës has 18,000 students. Agricultural University of Tirana has up to 10,000 students, and Polytechnic University has also, I don't remember, 10 or 11,000 students. So the idea is that how to make this kind of service visible, because the career guidance center or people have not the possibility to reach them on individual basis, all the students. And for this purpose are offered digitalized tools that the young people can use them independently to take the service through online manuals and online training and such things. And so,
and what's the use so far? Can you just, because you say we want to make it more visible, but what's the use so far? What's your, what do you know from what you've tried? This digital tool, was it used? Are the counselors busy non-stop?
The counselors are, let's say, are trying to do their job, but they also are charged by the management of universities with other tasks, not only as a career counselor. So there are services. The task is related to student services that in certain periods, it takes a lot of time from them. When there are some key moments, for example, as it is now the end of the year, when there are religious things that students are requiring, this is one of the problems. The second is that how they can reach the mass of the students. This is one of our concern, because still we should say something that career guidance was not, as I mentioned in the beginning, was not well established in Albania, or it doesn't have a culture as a service. It was developed in a simple level that sometimes you cannot call it career guidance. That is so called from them, but is not really a career guidance service when we started 5 years ago. So has been existing. It means that it was also a limited understanding of career guidance as a service, and also its importance that it has for both for young people and also the policies, public policies, when it comes to educational and employment policies. So these are the causes, let's say, that still the young people doesn't know what is the service and the benefits of these services. This is one of the things that we are struggling with.
Very good. Christina, do you have some questions, or should we go to the how might we model right away? Because I think
No,
we have enough of information and passion to go through it.
we do, but if it's okay, I would like to ask two additional questions. If I wanted to understand, I understand the challenge that they have a limited understanding of that, but I would like to understand, do you think or do you know if what these services, why the students not proactively looking for that? Do they think they don't need it, or do they get similar know-how from somewhere else? Do you have any insights on that?
Yeah, when as the service is not effective or not existing, they try to use another channel, let's say their acquaintances, their parents, their how can I say, the people that they know. They, if one say that I can go to study there, I can go to work there, so they follow them. So there are some non-formal channels or information that they take, of course. That is because still till now, also in employment, the career guidance, a majority of them still continue to use this non-formal channel that are inspired by their parents, but it is changing, but slowly.
Slowly, yeah, okay. And my second question would be if so far, if you had in your previous attempts to communicate with students, what kind of channels were used? Was it like an intranet of a university web page or a social media?
So we have developed, for example, I can take this, we have developed a manual, online manual that is completely application manual. And it is a very nice material when the students can start to explore themselves, their strength, their weakness, how they can prepare themselves to look for a job, what kind of job they can look, even that university, and they have chosen, let's say, their field of study, and it is an important step that you have done in your career. They still have a possibility to reorient themselves, because it's a master studies that can help you, or the job that you can try. So this is a manual, and this manual prepare them how to apply for a job, to describe themselves, to prepare for an interview, to I can say the one-stop shop manual for students when he thinks to look for a job.
Yeah,
and
okay.
to think about what he'll do when it is the university. And the career guidance office, they also use this. This manual is uploaded in the website of the university. Is in a, let's say, in a visible position. But still, from the statistics that we have in number of clicks, and we see that there are clicks on user, but to distinguish between user and those that just user, it means that when you stay long because you download it, or even when you click, you stay long and see how many minutes, how long it stayed, in order that during this time we assume that he had the possibility to go through the material to see what is. There are some of them that click only for curiosity, so is that. And they also use this online training, how to prepare a CV, how to write a motivation letter, how to be prepared for an interview. And still, it's not that there is a big number of students that are registered, or is the job fair, that there are some activities they also try to attract. But still, till now, we are not yet there to attract the majority of the students. I don't know how it fit in this hackathon, because this is more the problem of advocacy within an institution. Is what university can do is
Yeah. But I mean, one thing that also comes to my mind from personal experience, when I was still living in Macedonia, I was a student, and we started an NGO at that time that was helping students exactly in this like career guidance or whatever, but on a very, let's say, lower level, small scale. And I remember why we needed that, because the attitude towards the institution, university professors or anyone who was from this university, the attitude was that they didn't care about us. That was the attitude. So the care you would get from university professors, only with exceptions, it would have been something positive. Otherwise, you are there like begging them for knowledge and grades or whatever. So it wasn't really like equal, you know, and I want to say this more for Christina's understanding, because there is a different power dynamic in a university in Austria and a university in Macedonia, or maybe Albania, similar, Balkan, because you as a student develop a behavior of not trusting this institution. So why should I ask them what my career should be? Who cares who I am here, you know? So this is a little bit, I think, also complex, because career counselor sitting in the university, he has to, or she has to be very special personally to make personal connections and whatever. Otherwise, the institution as such is not very maybe keen on. But there is definitely potential, and I really love what you're doing, because this should be embedded in the university, and this also power dynamic is probably being challenged and changing. But I think just to finish, sorry, Christina, living in this time when young people are really more on TikTok than talking to their parents, I think digital advocacy is the right tool to think of. We just have to be very careful how to frame it. So Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, just before we move on to the exercise, I want to maybe go into a little bit more detail for one term you used. You said at the moment you cannot reach the mass of the students, and also, Bistra, thanks for explaining, clarifying. I do understand the challenge there, but I was wondering, if I start studying, you know, probably, yes, I have an idea, and hopefully everything goes well, as well as it can be. But when I start, I will probably not immediately think about my career. Do I presume that right? So I just wanted to have one question. What are your expectations? In what stage the students are you want to reach? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Usually this kind of service should start earlier, because it's unbelievable, but from some focus group discussion that we had when we started the project, let's say 8 years ago, and where we had focus group with young people to define our areas of intervention. And when it comes to career guidance, I was surprised when also the students that were studying, they were saying that, for example, they were in the first year or in the second year of engineering, and they were just claiming that we are studying for this, but still we don't know our profession. What kind of work we'll do when I will be graduated? So still they are at university and they don't know what we'll do exactly when they will go to work, and because their contact with, as I said, with the work of all is limited. Is just with some kind of, if you could hear them, they for example used to say that they know, for example, very good the profession of psychologist, of a lawyer, of a doctor, and the reason for that was because they are typical profession that are described in different films that they see, movies. So that these are well known from that, but for the other profession to know exactly what they are doing, for them is still difficult.
Okay.
So, but
actually pretty early on.
Yes, it would be better as early as, but what we are, what these offices are looking is the second year and third year, because at the third year of bachelor, they prepare themselves to go to work or to continue the master studies. These are the two years that they are looking at more.
Okay, thanks.
For the services. And another point, because till now we are focused on the part of the students, but it also, we need to lobby also to the management of the universities, because when I say a limited understanding and of career guidance service and of its importance as a service, this also is valid also for the management of university, that I'm not completely aware to understand this kind of service. In Albania, it is pushed artificially, let's say, from the accreditation process that universities should go through. But the accreditation doesn't go in details how the service is offered. Accreditation, see, do they have a career guidance office? Yes, they have, and it's just a click on the criteria. It's not that they go in detail to see. So for the management of universities, this has resulted not effective to push them forward for this kind of service. So you cannot leave everything on the desire of a counselor when this office is not accountable to some indicators, performance indicators to the management or things like that.
And Elmira, is there a reason why in your theory of change, I assume you chose to work with, for example, universities? Why not set up these career counselors in NGOs, in the student organizations, for example, or in some other elements of the educational system, or you have to be kind of focused on governmental elements?
It is that universities are those institutional providers that are tasked to deliver career guidance services.
Yeah.
So it's a mission that they have, it's a role that they have, and they should have this role. Till now, they didn't have any support, and it was just very difficult for them. Now we are supporting them. The things are evolving, but they need their piece also to consolidate. As I said, Albania doesn't have a culture of career guidance, of counseling, so professional counseling, because counseling from the parents, from the cousins are, oh, this is very common, but from a professional.
You get it from a young age. At the age of 5, they know what you should be.
Well, I need professional counseling. This is important.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Christina, any other questions at this stage, or can we go through the methodology part a little bit more? Okay, I'm gonna share my screen one more time. And Blerta, you can also see. Basically, what we try to do through this session today is come up with a so-called "How might we" question, which is a design question that we will bring in Serbia at the event, so people can actually start designing solutions about the challenge we have. Why are we using this format of how might we? We use it because it's much better than just describing a challenge, and it really creates an atmosphere for innovation because it reframes some of the problems we see as opportunities for actually choosing or changing something in your project, service, or initiative. So the how might we question follows this structure where we have how might we as 3 starting words in the beginning, and then we have a certain action related to a certain audience. We have some insight about that audience that makes the situation more clear to us, and then we have an end result that we want to reach. And all of this comes into a question, and that's kind of what people will get at the event in Serbia, with, of course, some other additional context descriptions that you can give with our guidance to the audience, so participants can connect to the Albanian context and to what you're trying to do. So from what I heard so far, we have dilemma maybe about the audience, but I heard more leaning towards young people, students in universities. Although, Elmira, you also mentioned a little bit working with the universities and the management team, but I'm not sure that digital advocacy is the right tool to think of that, but we can discuss, yeah? But these are kind of just examples of 2 audiences that were mentioned. When we talk about the action, we are also quite clear because the action should be, in a way, something that relates to digital advocacy, so it has to have a digital component, but at the same time, the action should reflect what do we want from the audience. What do we think they will connect to as well. So for example, if we want to empower them, if we want to make sure that they are more critical, if we want to equip them with something, yeah, it should be some action that really relates to them and resonates with the target audience as well. And we will go through today these 4 elements: audience, insight, action, and end result in the meeting. And we will try to figure out as much detail as possible for all of them. And then by the end of the meeting, actually next Monday, we will send you a how might we question, maybe 1 or 2 options. So you can actually choose the one that resonates most with the target audience you have in mind. And then we will maybe prepare you a little bit more so that when we go to the Serbia, to Belgrade, to the event, we have everything ready so people can just design, hopefully, good solutions for what you're looking for. I think when it comes to the how might we question, one thing I wanted to mention is I want us to go to a hackathon, to the Jamboard, sorry, because it will be easier for us to potentially give inputs there and also look through the question one more time. So I'm just going to ask you to click on this link that I sent in the chat. You are both at the same computer, so it will be easy to open it. You will see what you see on my shared screen at the moment. And basically, you can use Jamboard very easily. On the left side, you have some post-its. And when you click on that 4th icon, you can write in it and save it. And yeah, just move the post-it then afterwards wherever you want.
We have to go to slide 3, though.
Yeah, exactly. To go to slide 3, because the first slides are for the other project we are working on at the hackathon. So when it comes to this question of how might we, I think one aspect of it is also who are we? So what do we mean by how might we? But we can come to that after maybe we discuss a little bit the audience and the insights. I think this would be a better way to start off. So basically, we will have some questions again for you, Ermina and Blerta. When it comes to the audience, you mentioned students. I feel that would be a more suitable also target audience when it comes to digital advocacy. Christina, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but otherwise I would map out what we discussed. I will write the post-its, but we have to choose one, and the more concrete, the more specific it is, the better for us, because the solutions will be then better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the more digital, the more digital approved the target audience is, the obviously the better the chances. As I said, maybe we can even with the audience, maybe we can even try to brainstorm if there are different groups of students. Yeah, so just as a brainstorming, not just to say students at all. We said students, some students study engineering and maybe they're not so clear about the professions. Others study maybe medicine and it's clear, but so actually when they come closer to the bachelor, they start thinking about it. So maybe we can actually
to the end of the bachelor study, so the
exactly,
3rd year, I think, yeah.
To think a little bit in that direction as well, if you feel there are different groups of students in this mass of students, because in digital advocacy, it's a lot about actually trying to get, or to later on in the solution part, which will be in Serbia, but just as an explanation, it's a lot about trying not to have only one content message. I mean, there's an overall message, of course, but to actually, divide and specify these messages to the needs. And there's very often a difference. So if you have maybe any more input on that, that would be very helpful, I think, as well. And I don't know, I wouldn't, to be honest, Bistra, I wouldn't like to ignore the management. The question is how fitting is actually the digital approach to there. But often as a secondary target group, it often works as well to actually have them there and try to see how we can, because message for the students can be very important messages actually for those who provide it as well. So I wouldn't like to ignore it at this point.
I also thought that in a functional educational system, which I don't know if the Albanian one is, or what is a functional educational system, I don't know, but I imagine that in a functional educational system, whatever the students want or need will become a very important message for the management of the universities and staff as well. So by focusing on the students, I think as a secondary side effect, we might have something that spills out as a change in the universities as well. But as a priority target audience, I would recommend that we stick to the students with a little bit more precise description like this, like in the third year of studies, maybe to also give a little bit context. We said 4 universities, I think, Blerta.
Sorry, once again, sorry, this time?
4 universities?
Four big universities that we're cooperating, yes.
Okay, okay. And this would be, if we target the students, it would be the students in these universities.
Yes, which comprise more than around 50% of all students in Albania, because these are among the biggest public ones.
Okay. See,
But these numbers we will see, you know, the most recent statistics and have it more clear. But we talk about up to 50-54, the last number we have.
Okay, okay. And maybe I repeated one more time what we just said, Christina, so Ermira and Blerta can also react to this. Our suggestion would be that in the hackathon, we focus on the audience of students with a little bit more definition, maybe students in the third year of studies when they are more pressured to think about career. And then as a side effect, we would kind of hope and probably a change in the students' awareness will also change something in the university staff and management, because if students need some career guidance or there is more awareness among that group, probably the university will also have to put their mind to it. But I would say a primary target audience that we should focus on is the students. Would this be okay for you?
Yes.
I think if now I'm thinking way ahead, but if we manage to kind of create a long-term, successful digital advocacy campaign, and it is something that becomes popular within students. Students are on social media, so that would become like basically a movement, it might not be the correct word, on its own, and that's for sure something that will be noticed by someone, I guess, on even if they're not so much on social media, but that gets through to management level as well. I can't imagine. So I would rather see it as a this reach the students and also them to talk about it or something in that direction.
Yeah. I think when it comes to the audience, I also want to ask one insight. It might sound like a stupid question, but I want to really think it through a little bit. Why is career guidance needed? Do you think, Ermira and Valbona as well, do you think people will be more successful in their life if they know what careers they want? Or why should we have career guidance?
Because it's a process that helps you in crucial moment of your life to take informed decisions.
How does it help?
With the information is key.
Yeah, but it offers employment.
Some clarity, you have more clarity.
Because yes, you have the information. For example, you want to know what are the most professions required in today, or which profession have the highest wage. But this is when you are interested to be employed. But since you are a little bit younger, you need to explore yourself to know what are your strengths, what are your weakness, in which profession or in which field my strengths are materialized, or these are key elements that help a young let's say, people to take the right decision, or there are instruments like kind of tests that help you to find why you have difficulties, for example, to define your career, what kind, which is the nature of these difficulties, or how you can overcome these difficulties. Because we have developed also some tests that really helps young people to explore themselves, about in order to orient themselves what we can do, or what they can like, what they cannot like. For example, if somebody asks me, when you can say that he has a very good career, for example, because as we can say, to evaluate career guidance service is very how we can say, is very abstract, because what does it mean that the person has pursued a very nice career? My answer always is when the person is doing what he likes to do. That is, the other elements can come and go, but this is important.
Yeah.
Maybe
and
just
you,
quickly.
sorry.
Sorry. Can I just quickly ask if students make use of it? In what format does it happen? Can I? Is it like a meeting? Is it several meetings over a certain period of time? How does it look like? In what format is it actually happening?
You have individual counseling, you are a counselor. When you go more in deep with the counselor, explain yourself, explain your difficulties, explain your aspiration, explain your desires, what do you want to do, and strength, weakness, competencies that you have. And then you take you can take from that kind of guidance that is related to you or is tailored to your status that you are there. And there are groups counseling or activities that also are related when there is also training or learning from others, inspired by others. For example, there are distinguished or not figures that are in a certain professions or in a certain position. They can talk to you about how did they reach there, or what they have achieved in life. And
Okay, and when it comes to the audience,
and online service, that online service are self-service, because you have the information, you have the tools, and then you deal themselves. So self-service is also an important way that many people go for this self-service nowadays.
Is that the most used one? Currently?
I cannot say in Albania is the most used one, but yeah, it's a trend now to have a self-service.
If I may add that the universities, the counselors themselves use more the group services. They have usually more like group activities. Then Amira mentioned, for example, for these self-service tools, they have tried to promote them for students to use them by themselves, by explaining what tools are there and so on. But mostly they do group activities and less individual counseling, I would say, at university level.
Even though the ratio of counselor and students, they have 5 counselors, for example, for 20,000 students. So it's too much. Huh? We don't pretend that with individual counseling we can cover the mass of the students.
Yeah. Okay. And for just to understand a little bit, for a future scenario, let's say we have students that are very keen on career guidance. They even think that it's their deserved right when they go to a university to figure out what they want to be in their life, what is their career path, and etc. And the university has 5 counselors, so individual sessions will be difficult to do. what would be then the option? That you develop this digital toolkit or manual? Do you think that will be enough? Or you as a project might develop even something else additionally? Or what will we do if we really reach that students are active and really need career guidance?
Is this self-service, self-service and group activities, trainings that are offered to attend them.
Okay, okay. And have you tested at any point till now whether I would say whether students are interested in this kind of group activities? Is it working? Do the universities have any experience? The counselors, did they do some group activities that you consider successful?
When they attend these group activities, they evaluate them as interesting and attractive. But the problem is to attract them to take part in these group activities. This is the first. Also, is the level of students, because there is not that all the students are at the same level, that they are very self-demanding for their best.
Yeah.
And I have one last question, if that's okay. I think it refers to audience and insights in the same way. Do you have any insights? Do you have any information on the students that already made use of it? Is there any insights in terms of demographics, age, studies? Any characteristics around them?
Yes, when they come at the university, for the counselors that are all our students, it's not so important when they are coming from. They are all students that should take this. I'm putting myself in the shoes of counselors. They have students, they should offer that service. So I am not excluding here also the motivation of the counselors to attract more and more, because as I said, when they are not pushed so strong for the quality of service on these things from the management, I also can adapt on their motivation, or there are a series of elements that even that they in meeting with us or in monitoring procedure that we have, or also we have conducted the satisfaction survey with the universities, with the counselors. The counselors, we have provided them with the tools to make end of the year this evaluation of effectiveness of their service. And there we saw indeed that the most of them, that is above 75% of the students that have taken the service are satisfied or very satisfied with the service. This was the results from those. So the survey was purposive sample with those that have used the service, not with all the students, but for those who have used the service, how they found the service, how the service served to them. That was the point. And yeah.
But it's a good sign that there is at least satisfaction rate, you know. Maybe yeah, this is a very big kind of important element, so this is good.
I would say that at the moment counselors has in their hands, let's say, still they are basic tools, because the service can the career guidance service need a lot of bricks to put, but we have supported them to build a strong foundation for this service. And it means that they have some tools and instruments at the hand that can offer effective service to the students.
Yeah. Okay. And in the context of this question, how might we do some action with the young people, students?
Management, we need action with management.
No, the action I think we will come to, but what I'm interested in is who is we?
Sorry?
So would this be Helvetas and the universities? Would this be the counselors? Would this, who is we? Who are we designing?
I would say we, in this case, could be the university, the counselors. Helvetas, no. Helvetas is a temporary actor there that is just to push the things, and Helvetas can leave and they should know how to do that.
And do you think that if we design a solution that is meant for the universities or counselors during this hackathon, and
Yes.
you suggest it to them or give it to them as a kind of, and help them implement it, they would be open to something like that, right?
Yes, and I would say it will be more worth it to invite there and to present this. I'm thinking to present there instead of the project, maybe can be people from this career guidance of universities.
Can you repeat one more time? Sorry, I lost the last part.
I'm thinking now that can be worth it, that can come in Belgrade, people from, we can choose people from career guidance from 2 universities, let's say, to come there, to hear themselves, to bring their problems there, and to find the solution instead of our people from the project.
Yeah. So when it comes to that, I absolutely agree with you, Ermira. I was also going to suggest this. I would maybe not involve them in the whole process of ideation and everything, but to have them as experts or mentors that give feedback to the ideas and the solutions, because they actually know the problem much better, I would say.
And they will implement the solution on the idea.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this would be a really, really good point, because your knowledge as well in the expert is in the project is exceptional, but they are the ones that should implement something and maybe make it happen. And if we design, especially something with digital campaigning and stuff, we will need long-term commitment from, you know, to reach some result. But this is, for now, I think I'm clear on this side, and I would like to maybe move the conversation a little bit towards the action and the end result. So we talked about the end result quite a lot, and I feel that what you want actually is to just make sure that young people are empowered, knowledgeable, and understand their career options and opportunities, and are informed or well equipped to make decisions that are good for their future. Kind of, this is your end result, if I think of the young people. Did I frame it okay, or?
This is our ultimate result, but for the time being is that the first step to go to the end of result is that they use the services that are offered by the Center of Career Guidance.
Yeah, exactly.
This is an intermediate result that can enable the end result to happen. Because the end result wants other elements, not only that, but wants also content,
there is a little bit more
quality of counselors. It requires a lot of
absolutely.
requisites.
And if we think of really the action where we want students to be involved, I want to understand a little bit, because we said, you know, digital advocacy, but digital advocacy can be very broad. Many people think it's only campaigning, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe we want to create a mobile app that allows students to, I don't know, communicate with each other and gossip about their professors, and at the same time share details about their career, and then only the counselors have access to this, but not the professors, or whatever, I don't know. Now I'm just putting some ideas, you know. It doesn't have to be that digital advocacy is just campaigning. So did you think of any action, or have you seen something that you want to share with us in this direction?
For the moment.
And if you think of digital campaign,
it is only to use some channel of communication, digitalize, offering them this opportunity, this notification for training, how to make them, but I don't have any digital channels of information. I mean,
yeah, of course.
But one idea that I wanted also to check with Bleta is that these universities, there's also this students council or something like that. Maybe it can be a combination of this career guidance center and the one from this students council together. Yes, to come and to see from both perspectives, what counselors want and what students.
I think this is very important what Mira is saying, because sometimes we're campaigning for the students, but we're not involving the students themselves. So maybe to have their perspective is very important like this. So.
And when it comes to like digital campaigning, have you had anything that you've done already in the project that you feel you want to share with us in terms of action or something that brought some result or something? When it comes to students only, yeah, I'm only interested in the students' target audience.
If I may mention, in the case of the advocacy at municipality level that Ermira mentioned, which is not, it's open more to youth and community, but I know that they used also some type of podcasts also as a tool. I cannot say about its efficiency, but I know that youth themselves were involved and were talking about career, why is it important, and so on. So.
This is definitely, you know, going more in the terms of solution. Maybe a podcast will be kind of a solution that people come up with. It's really the tool, but I was more interested maybe in a sense of like campaign, and you cleared, you had some narrative and you tested it and it worked or it didn't work, or it came from the university or it came from Helveta's office. How was there any dynamic and this kind of stuff? But if there is no such experience, it's also totally fine.
No, it's only a survey is done. Surveys are done with students. Online surveys, face-to-face discussion, focus group discussion, that are the experience that we have so far.
Maybe we can also add the focus groups. That's.
Yeah,
if you don't mind, Krista. And do we need to think a little bit also in the direction of emotional driven action, meaning like empowering or straightforward, also engaging in that direction?
What does this mean?
Sorry,
I'm not fully clear about that. What does this mean?
That in action, I think, I mean, Bistra, you are more the expert in that model, but I think it's also okay to think in a way of what should it do emotionally with the students, you know, how will they feel, what should a digital advocacy campaign create in their minds? Should they feel empowered by it? Should they feel enabled to new opportunities? Should they feel like they got better educated in that sense? That we think a little bit in that direction as well. Not only the hard facts, look, here it is, it's and this is why it's good for you, but really also in today's world, especially in the digital world, we need to think of the emotional setup as well in order to actually succeed.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, Christina, that now what you said, it triggered something else in me, and I wanted to just ask Ermira and Blair, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but
not any opinion is not wrong. So.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, I'm talking about universities in Albania, so I'm not really comfortable because I have never worked with them. But I just imagine if as a student, I really want to figure out, I'm totally confused. I don't like my classes. I feel very bored at school and I want to figure out what I'm going to be or what should I do next. And then I go to this career guidance and then I see that this guy or girl, the person working there is busy because they have other work and there is some group session that I can join. And I see there in the group session some people, weird people. I don't know them from the university. They're not my friends. So like, I just want to understand, like, why are we asking them to go to the career guidance center or person unless we are certain that this is really what's going to help them? Are you certain? I'm sorry that maybe it's a confusing question, but, or maybe we should think of raising awareness among the students for career guidance, but also saying, talk with your friends more or create more peer-to-peer counseling, or I don't know if this exists really, but you know what I mean.
Yes, all of these are forms of career counseling, also peer-to-peer when it is done in an organized way and
Yeah, exactly.
supervised. This is also because we talk about career guidance. We are not referring only to that conventional meaning that every one of us has in mind, you and a counselor in front of you and discussing. As I said, there are different ways that we are trying to develop. And what is important for us, when I say because it is beneficial, is that what we are offering information. Information in their stage is gold, is key for informed decision. That is important.
And I would say not only offering the information, but also with that awareness of how much it can help you, career guidance can become something of a priority, something that you care about as a student. And then even the career counselor or the universities or whatever will have to adapt. If every student needs this, they will figure out ways to work with it. Is this a logical frame of mind?
I want to share, for example, something with you to understand better the role of career guidance at university. The students in Albania has come to university, as I said, using informal career guidance channels and such. They have reached there. They have chosen the field of study and they are there. When, for example, we had as a project, we have had a high exposure to Switzerland, for example, is a country that is difficult to compare with us, it's difficult to take the thing. We are, we are inspired from their practices. And when we come back, we think about how now we should root it in Albania. In the context of Albania, what is exportable, what is not. So that is always that comes in our mind. But what we have noticed there is that when the students there go to university, they have gone through a chain because there is every chain of the system is functioning, is working. Nobody, if you want, nobody let you, or Christina can bring also good practices from Austria that are countries. So nobody is leaving you not to go on. I was surprised in Switzerland that even that you finish, for example, mandatory education, and you don't want to go, for example, to high school, that you have a mandatory training. You should take a training. That was the rule there. So they take, so it are all the training. Our students now, they are at the universities and they are not, they are going through, as I said, informal, some take, oh, I can go. Sometimes it can be an ad hoc decision. Sometimes it has been a decision that with the kind of GPA that you have, you only can go to study for this field of study because you cannot go higher. So there are complex of issues that have them has their influence to the student to make that decision or that influence. So now at university with this career guidance, they have also the possibility to reflect again on their future or to see again what within the profession, within this profession, how they can see themselves or how they can orient or reorient themselves. While in Switzerland, I saw when we, at the university, they had this career guidance service, but really they were more on psychological side rather than on information on oriented. Because as I said, the cycle has been fulfilled before going to the university.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very important point. And I think when we are in Belgrade and with all the participants, we will have to build a little bit context around this. So people understand what is the Albanian context. And for example, what you shared now is very, very valuable to understand. We are picking up the students. They don't know what they need, but we are also picking them up quite late. actually, if you had previously career guidance, this would have been easier, but now it's like a little bit of a messy system out of which we are trying to make sense. And yeah, I mean, one thing, Elmira, that I want to just mention, when I talk to you, for example, I have a really good feeling that you would, you know, you understand the issue, you really want to help in this, etc. You probably in your project also focus on the counselors and working with them and capacity building, etc. I just want to make sure that we are not only covering one element. I mean, in the hackathon, we cannot do everything. We have to focus on one issue. And I think focusing on raising awareness and providing some kind of actionable outcome for the students would be the best. Yeah, but I will take it as a given that if we really roll out something in Albania in the universities and it works and students really need career guidance and go to the center, that this will be provided in a nice way and they will not be disappointed, because it's an element that you know, it influences highly the digital advocacy campaign, because everything in the digital world depends on reality checks. And when it comes to university, especially, you know, students get very easily disappointed and they can easily find something else to do. They will not go back twice to the council, to the, you know. So we have to be just careful with that. And maybe when Christina, you and me, when we design the question, we also have to be careful with the end result. What are we designing and for what end result? Yeah. Okay, I think more or less from my side, at least, I have enough clarity of what you're working with and what are all the puzzles interconnected. Maybe I will have one last question at the end, but Christina, I want to open up first to you. Do you have anything you wanted to maybe ask or add at this stage?
Not at this point. I mean, it's really, we are trying to define the challenge. So it's really all about taking in. So I don't have any more question. I just have to add what I see a challenge here as well, but I think that's something we will be able to work on, and that's good, but where we will need a lot more insight from you as well is for sure the target audience. You know, we can only make a campaign, a digital advocacy campaign work if you know how they work, if we understand what that worries them, and that's exactly what we need to understand. You know, I find that example, the comparison and this with Switzerland very almost powerful and very important to understand as well, the difference as well. And I find it very interesting. So I think we need, probably when you're in Serbia and we work on that, we will need more insight on that even more.
Yeah, at the end, I don't know how many cases you have. If this is not the proper case for digital advocacy of the hackathon, you are free to say that to us. That
Elmira, never to your case.
I think it's a very good. I think it's a very good case. So
it's a very good one, really.
There needs to be space created for that, and students with are familiar with the digital world. So I think it's from my point of view, it's a very good case.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Valbona, I guess you want to say something, but I have one last question, if you don't mind, just to Elmira and Blirta, and this is it from my side. Do you think we could, at the hackathon, involve online, it doesn't have to be physically, students?
From this students from this counselor, student council, we will discuss with counselor and we see what we can do, because it's also a period that the students are on holidays at that period. They are not at the university, so discuss.
But we can try, maybe it doesn't have to be many, it can be a few, but I'm just thinking that maybe it would be useful.
Yes, of course. So we can discuss with these counselors, and they can come counselors with some students.
Yeah, okay.
That would be
Mhm.
amazing. Or
Yeah.
if that doesn't work, that we can, yeah,
Okay.
have some important questions to be answered by a couple of students,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, exactly. We will, Christina and me will send you an email on Monday with a little bit more details and, you know, kind of next steps. If you are available next week, maybe we can schedule another half an hour, very short call.
I will be on holidays till the 15th of August, but just let me know
Okay.
for half an hour everywhere, maybe we can find. But
Okay. I mean, we will
I'm on
suggest,
holidays. I will be back in the office on the 16th, on the 16th August.
okay. Well, at this stage, Ermira, well, what we will need maybe a little bit more faster response will be when we send you this how might we questions, that you look through them, see how it feels, and that we select one that we take forward. So for that, I don't need a call. We can talk after you are back from holiday, but I will need your email response because I would like to make sure we
When
have
you need this response,
maybe till the end of next week. Like if I sent you the question on Monday, would it be possible for you to look at it till Friday, whenever you can?
yeah, I will try.
Yeah, you can try, and if it doesn't work,
Always when I'm on holidays, always is something that comes to me. And I said, I have decided this holidays, I will not touch
I'm
it.
so sorry.
But, yeah, this is my fortune. It's not your fault.
Yeah,
This
we
is
are
my
all
fortune.
struggling with that.
That happens to me always.
Yeah, but I think, you know, also a note to Valbona, if we don't have one question of the how might we can give a draft question that we will then work on a little bit in August. But Valbona, we will have clarity what kind of jury we need, because this is the part that we need to prepare for as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another question. Do we both need to be there physically in Belgrade, or we can do it online?
I would prefer if you are physically there, but I don't know, this is more also maybe Valbona, you can help out, but I would prefer that you are physically there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, Valbona, please.
Go, Ermira. Go, Ermira. Go. Go,
No, for
Ermira.
us, it has coincided with a conference that is a conference of career guidance. It's a yearly conference that I used to attend, and it is in Pristina from 7 to 9. It's the same. They have overlapped together. But let's see.
And you can't come only for one day? No, it's, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, we should think about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, online is also okay. Valbona, I imagine the room where we will be has the technical equipment to a way that we can connect someone online and get, you know, get the, it will not be a problem. But of course, if you are there, it's better because you can contribute to the design process. You will be asked to give feedback in certain elements, you know, because this is like it's a hackathon, so it needs a lot of minds to be put together in a short time that we come up with something valuable.
Yeah, but I was thinking if also invite there these counselors of university to come physically, or the students online, or, but we can discuss it. It's not a problem. After the holidays, we can discuss it again.
Okay.
Make the proper decision.
Yeah, works for us. And yeah, on Monday, we will send you the how might we questions, and the rest we take after you are back from holiday. But yeah, thank you very much for today. It was very valuable. I really like your project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Can we just stay 2 more minutes, Krista and Bistra?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice meeting you.
Take care, Mirableta.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Valbona, you managed to stay all throughout.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
What to do with, no, no, thank you for the facilitation, and I know that it was intensive and energy consuming, but as well